What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past few days, where there is a lot of topics to discuss. Firstly, Erling Haaland's agents had a meeting with Deco in Barcelona, and they are plotting and planning the future signing of Erling Haaland to Barcelona. We will talk about that and its full details. We have other forward updates as well in regards to Joao Felix. Atletico Madrid has set a price for Barcelona, but Barcelona not too keen on that price. Also have an update on the future of Joao Cancelo and also Kvaratskhelia coming to Barcelona as well. We have some big sale updates as well on Lewandowski, Raphinha, and Ter Stegen, where Saudi Arabia are really pushing to sign some of these players. We have an update on the fullback situation in regards to Julian, Araujo, Valle, Hector Fort, Sergio Nunez's name being put in the mix as well. Injury updates on Ferran Torres and Gavi. Some around the club news as well. New Cooper deal, S by Barca project, delaying it so we can get a lot of home away games next season. Names of gates, maybe Roberto getting a name of his gate alongside Messi and others as well. Big update on the new manager, of course, with apparently Joan Laporta pushing Xavi to stay a bit longer as the manager, but now the manager list has been narrowed down to the top 4 contenders in Thomas Tuchel, Hansi, Zerbi, and Luis Enrique, and we have an update on all their situations. And finally, we do have an interview from Deco with Catalan Radio discussing pretty much everything as a summary. So a lot of news to get into, but before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get the 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past few days. Now, we're first going to be discussing a lot of forwards that have been linked with Barcelona recently. I don't think any of them are really concrete, so to speak, but they are coming in from reliable sources, so we'll talk on them and touch on them very quickly. First one up is Joao Pedro of Brighton, with Gerard Romero coming out saying that Barcelona has inquired about the potential signing of Joao Pedro from Brighton. I think this is a player that Barcelona like, keeping their tabs on him, I guess. I mean, you're getting linked with Matoma as well from Brighton. They already have Ansu Fati. I feel like Barcelona want to kind of give them Ansu Fati and trying to get someone back in return. That could be their game plan. I think Joao Pedro is a good player, but it's a player that we do not need whatsoever. You have Lewandowski, you have Victor Roque, you have Marc Andre, you have Pau Victor. We're being linked with Erling Haaland. Joao Pedro makes no sense whatsoever. So let's now move on to the next forward, and this one has a bit more of, sense to it, and that is Kvaratskhelia. No actual links, but we do have some quotes coming in from his agent asking about the recent links to Barcelona and to PSG, and he replied by saying, of course there are offers for Kvaratskhelia from top clubs. Look at him, how can there be no proposal? Bit of a cockiness there, but I respect it. In May, more will be clear and a decision will be made. So his future is a bit in the air at Napoli. We'll wait and see how that works out. Again, for me, the main issue is the transfer fee. I would not be paying upwards of 70 million euros for Kvaratskhelia. I think he's more so around the 60s, somewhere around there. I think he's a good player, but it is a bit of a risk after his drop off from last season to this season. Now, we do have 2 youngsters in the forward department, one of them being Franco Mastantuono, I believe is how you say his name, try my best here. It's coming in from Joaquin Pena from Sport, who again very well known in the South American market. He's come out saying that Barcelona are very attentive to Franco Mastantuono of River Plate. Barcelona, among many other European clubs, are collecting information about him. He has a release clause of 30 million euros, which increases to 35 million euros in the last 10 days of each transfer window. I've seen some clips of him, looks alright, but again, when he's upwards of 30 million release clause, you can just add another, few million to get an Estavio, Willian, or other players that can come and impact the actual first team of Barcelona. That kind of answers your question, in my opinion. Similarly, and finally, on the same page as Rooney, the forward for Copenhagen, who's done very well for them in the Champions League. Fabrizio Romano has come out saying that Barcelona scouts together with Spurs, Manchester United, and Bayern Munich are following Copenhagen's Rooney, whose contract expires on December 31st, 2025. It's about a year and a half left on his deal, and he has no intentions of signing a renewal. So on a free transfer, this could definitely be a possibility. I think in terms of, making a move for him this summer, again, very unlikely. He's done well. Copenhagen will probably ask for, a decent amount of money for a player that has, 1 year left on his deal, or more so a year and a half come the summertime. But again, not really a player that I think we do need, especially for the money that's being currently touted out, and also with other priorities that we do have as well. So we'll wait and see how things turn out with all these fours. I think the most likely one, the one that has any steam whatsoever, of course, is Kvaratskhelia. I think the other 3 are just being more so just Barcelona keeping their eyes on the market, and Barcelona being linked with other players as well to kind of increase their value a little bit. Now, one of the first priorities for Barcelona in the market will be deciding the futures of both Joao Felix and Joao Cancelo, both on loan from Atletico Madrid and Manchester City respectively. And now as we wind down to the final few months of the season, slowly but surely Barcelona are pretty much making their decisions on the two Joaos. Firstly, on Joao Felix coming in from Luis Enrique from Marca, he's come out saying that at the moment Barcelona's idea is to request the loan of Joao Felix for another season. Atletico Madrid want around 70 to 80 million euros for a permanent deal, which Barcelona has absolutely no intentions of buying him. Now also Franco Sport confirmed this as well, saying that despite his fluctuating level this season, Barcelona wants Felix to continue, and the player also dreams of continuing at Barcelona. His issue is more complex than Cancelo's, as the club is asking for around 70 to 80 million euros. The only way for him to continue is another loan, and Mendes will work with the two clubs on that operation. If we get him for another loan, it's whatever. In my opinion, I think it's going to really hinder the future of Ansu Fati. You're going to have Ansu Fati, Joao Felix, Raphinha, Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres. That's 5 wingers already. And also you're looking at bringing in another left winger, Rafael Leao, Kvaratskhelia, whatever the case may be. I think the club are, if they do want to keep Felix, they're planning on another exit. Whether that's Ansu Fati, whether that's Raphinha, whether that's Ferran. I think the only one that's guaranteed is Lamine Yamal. And for me, Joao Felix, look, I said at the beginning of the season, he has to get double digits at least in goals and assists minimum for me to consider keeping him, beyond this season. I think he has 9 goals, 5 assists, so he's gonna get. I think he hopefully will reach those numbers, but he barely will. And like I told you guys at the beginning of this transfer, I don't think it's gonna work out. I still don't think it's gonna work out. I think he's had his moments against, Porto, his former side, against Atletico Madrid, his former side, that first few games as well when he first came in. I think he's a good player to have for sure, but for the price and the cost of it, it's not worth it, in my opinion. But the club can secure another loan and, just have him for another season on a borrow, then fair enough. It won't cost us something whatsoever. I think the implications of the loan deal will be the big question mark. Will it be a buy option, buy obligation if certain objectives are reached, or whatever the case may be? What price will the obligation be? I think the club right now have too many holes in their team that they need to invest in first, ahead of a second option in the forward line, in my opinion. But we'll wait and see. I am kind of happy Barcelona on this right track, and I kind of hope that Atletico Madrid do kind of price out Barcelona of this move. That way we're kind of going to be forced away from doing this operation. So that's the update on Felix. On Cancelo is of course way more concrete. Franco Sport came out saying that Barcelona wants to keep Joao Cancelo, the player wants to continue, and Barcelona will offer around 15 to 20 million euros to Man City, but they'll probably ask for more. But Mendes and the player will pressure to reduce the amount. I think City want around 30, so we're not too far off. I think if you can offer 15, chuck some variables in there as well, maybe reach 25, then maybe everyone's happy. I think it's quite clear at the moment that we're going to keep Cancelo in some sort of capacity, and I do hope that is the case. There have been some rumors about maybe doing another loan for Cancelo as well, but I think that's going to be very unlikely. I think, we're going to be pushing the limits with Man City in that regard. But I think Cancelo, the club already decided they want to keep him 100%, just now down to reach an agreement with Manchester City. Now, another player that is currently on loan at Barcelona, and the club have decided to keep him long-term and purchase him from his loan, that it hasn't been successful, of course. It is Pau Victor, the striker of Barca Athletic, with Gabriel Sanz from Deportivo reporting that Barcelona are considering the possible signing of Pau Victor permanently from Girona for 3 million euros. His performances have exceeded expectations and the investment would be profitable in the long term. He has 14 goals and 4 assists in 22 matches for Barca Athletic. Currently the player remains focused on Barca Athletic and is trying to achieve promotion to the second division. So Barcelona see it as a win-win. They buy him, they keep him because a great striker. Bish bash bosh, you're happy. They buy him, they sell him on for profit. Bish bash bosh, you're happy. He's done very well this season. He's kind of the one that's been keeping Marc Andre out of the starting lineup quite a bit for Barca Athletic. He's been, very clinical. I have to give credit where it's due. When he first came in from Girona, I'm thinking, bloody hell, another move. It's like, what's the point? He's come out and he's performed very well. I think for 3 million, it's definitely, a gamble to take, because you're either going to profit off him, maybe earn 5 million, 6 million from his sale to a first division side, maybe someone else in the second division, or if you keep him, does well, then you're happy as well. But if you do keep him, that's going to, of course, hinder the minutes of maybe Victor Roque in the first team, maybe Marguerite's development as well. So that's something to consider as well. So we'll wait and see how things turn out. But right now, Pau Victor is very much earning his spot in Barca Athletic. It's also pushing Barcelona to buy him on a permanent transfer from Girona. Now, the biggest news that has come out around Barcelona over the past few days has been the news about Erling Haaland to Barcelona. Now, this news did break from Gerard Romero, who we all know is quite reliable. He had, of course, picture proof, video proof that this all took place, and that's that Barcelona, more specifically Deco, met with the agents of Erling Haaland in Barcelona. The meeting took place at a restaurant, and of course, the agent of Erling Haaland is Raphinha, who is the former associate of Mino Raiola, who of course passed away. After he passed away, she kind of took over the agency, and she's the agent of Erling Haaland. She met with Deco. They talked about many of her clients, like maybe De Ligt, Verratti, Paul Pogba, Mazzuari from Bayern Munich, but the main topic of the meeting was Erling Haaland. Apparently, Joan Laporta dreams of signing Erling Haaland, and that honestly sticks because remember when he first came in as the president in 2021, when I was making those videos during the presidential campaign, all we were hearing was Erling Haaland's Laporta's dream. Laporta wants to bring in Erling Haaland from the RB Salzburg days, and then when he of course moved to Dortmund, that's when they really started to pick up speed. At Erling Haaland is Laporta's dream. Him and Dani Olmo at the time were like the two players that Joan Laporta really liked, but it still apparently has stick. Now, some from these quotes, of course, Roberto came out saying that no one can deny this meeting was filmed, but Deco saying that he didn't talk about Erling Haaland, he is lying. And there's also reports saying that we can also confirm the date has been agreed to meet again with Erling Haaland, this time with his family and entourage, to assess the viability of this operation. And also at this meeting, 2 names of the current Barcelona players were brought up to sell in order to facilitate the move to Erling Haaland. So apparently Barcelona are planning on selling 2 big players to bring in Erling Haaland. Now, whether they're going to do this summer or next summer remains to be seen, but it's definitely still on the table. And Joao Felix also came out saying that I want to make it very clear that we are not saying that Barcelona is going to go sign Erling Haaland. We are simply saying that this is a meeting that has taken place, and we can also confirm that Erling Haaland to Barcelona is a topic that is being discussed. It is complicated, but it is not impossible. Now, Raphinha was asked about Laporta, I think a year ago, when she was doing some sort of interview, I think within the news outlet, and she was asked on, the relationship that she has with Barcelona, and she said, yes, I have to. I've always said that Laporta can ask me for anything in football. It's not fair because he knows I will always say yes. So we got them in the chokehold. Now, in regards to Erling Haaland's release clause, keep in mind that he did sign with Man City because they were kind of the only club that agreed to have a release clause for him when he was leaving Borussia Dortmund, and the release clause agreed was 175 million euros, but active next summer, in the summer of 2025. So you want to get Erling Haaland this summer, 2024, we're going to have to fully negotiate with Manchester City. Look, Erling Haaland this summer for me is 100% no. Erling Haaland is a player that you sign to be the icing on the cake. We right now don't even have the cake done yet. Man City had the cake done. They added Erling Haaland. They won the treble. We're not at that point yet. I think we need one summer right now where you invest 100 million in the squad, get a pivot, get a left winger, sort out the fullback depth, which we'll talk about actually later on, and then you can bring in Erling Haaland 2025. You also have to consider as well the development of Victor Roque. You have Marc Andre, you might even have Pau Victor if we don't decide to sell him on as well. I think we're pretty well covered in the striker department. Of course, Lewandowski's contract will expire in 2025 as well. There's a lot of if, buts, and maybes. I see it as impossible to get Erling Haaland this summer. I think the Barcelona are just trying to, maybe get some groundwork, put their foot in, make their interest known for Erling Haaland in 2025 potentially. I think this summer there's absolutely no chance. But this has always been coming. I think this is more so some PR from Barcelona as well, kind of putting it out there in the media. Oh, we're trying to look for Erling Haaland, Haaland versus Mbappe, Messi versus Ronaldo, El Clasico on repeat. Also, letting the coaches that we've been linked with known, like, Tuchel, Flick, Zerbi, Luis Enrique, like, look, we can get Erling Haaland, we're not that broke, so to speak. So we'll wait and see. Still very, 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 very early on, but Barcelona are interested in Erling Haaland, and it looks like they are plotting and planning a future move for the Norwegian striker. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past few days. First up, we do have Saudi Arabia coming in for 3 big Barcelona players on paper, of course. This is coming in from Mundo Deportivo. They've come out saying that Saudi Arabian clubs are interested in Marc Andre Ter Stegen, Raphinha, and Robert Lewandowski. We do have an update on all 3 of their perspectives. On Raphinha, he did reject an offer from Saudi Arabia last summer, but they're expected to try again this summer, and the club counts on him, but they could be interested if he decides to leave after the explosion of the money amount. So if a good offer comes in, Raphinha's interested, the club maybe will push for it. On Lewandowski, he received a massive offer from Saudi Arabia, but Barcelona want to keep him for at least 1 more year and mentor Victor Roque. A final decision will fully depend on Lewandowski, who's not exactly keen on leaving the club. So if Lewandowski comes to the club and says, I want to leave Barcelona will fully comply, but the club do want to keep him for 1 more year, and again, this kind of goes in line with Erling Haaland coming in 2025 as well, so you could put 2 and 2 together. And finally, on Ter Stegen. Ter Stegen knows that a very powerful club in Saudi Arabia want to sign him, but he's not received an official formal offer as of now. Of course, that powerful club is Al Ittihad, the team of Benzema, coached by Marcelo Gallardo as well. I think the only one that could leave out of these 3 is Raphinha. I, of course, back in the winter transfer window, I was pushing saying get Lewandowski out of the club this summer. Again, I would still want to sell and move on Lewandowski this summer if the right offer comes in. I think anything above 20 million euros you take, because that way you won't take that much of a hit overall in his transfer, save on his wages for one season as well. With Raphinha, again, it comes down to what Barcelona want to do in the winger position. Do they want to trust Ansu Fati? They want to give Joao Felix loan another go as well? Do they want to keep Ferran Torres? Do they actually want to buy a proper left winger? I think Ter Stegen, I cannot see Ter Stegen leaving. He's going to be the captain of the whole entire club next season. I mean, you're at a point in your career now where you might as well just finish at Barcelona and hope you can kind of, salvage your legacy and name at the club a little bit. Although, he's won a lot of trophies at the club. There's a lot of trophies that he did miss out on as well. So we'll wait and see. I think, of course, the decision really comes down to Barcelona. They all have contracts for quite a long time, with Lewandowski, being short but still favoring Barcelona overall. We'll see if any offers come in. They come in, we'll assess it. But if they don't, it could be all just paper talk, kind of, pushing the players' names out in the exit ramp, so to speak. So we'll wait and see how things turn out, but for now, Barcelona are kind of keen on keeping all these three players, but a big Saudi offer can change some dynamics. Now, a report that came out that I was so pleased to see was on the situation in the goalkeeper department. As we all know, Inaki Pena, our backup goalkeeper, had a good run in goal from about December until February, maybe even end of November, beginning of February, with Ter Stegen being out injured, and Inaki Pena did not impress. In those 3 months, he kept 2 clean sheets and played 15-20 games and made 2 good saves. That was it. I think everyone could agree that Inaki Pena is not really the future of the Barcelona goalkeeper position. But, we have other priorities right now. Pivot, left winger, for showing out the fullbacks as well. It's not really a priority. But Mundo Deportivo have come out saying that there is an internal debate going on at Barcelona for the goalkeeping position, whether to continue with Inaki Pena or look for a better substitute for Marc Andre Ter Stegen. Currently, it's not known whether Inaki Pena, whose contract expires in 2026, will ask to leave and search for more minutes. If the club decides to go in the market for a goalkeeper, Luis Maximiano, who's currently on loan at Almeria from Lazio, is light. In fact, Barcelona wanted to sign him a few seasons ago when he was at Granada. Lazio right now do not count on him. David De Gea was also linked with Barcelona as well, but do not confirm that he wanted him. Also, it is doubtful that he will want to be coming in as a backup goalkeeper. On De Gea, in the bid. That's not going to happen. He doesn't want it, and I don't think Barcelona want it. For me, the most important thing about this report is that Barcelona are doubting Inaki Pena, and that for me should be the correct decision. Whether or not we should change the goalkeeper right now, if we do it, great. If we don't, whatever. I think we're at a point right now where changing and spending time and looking for a backup goalkeeper shouldn't be the priority. We need to pivot, sort that midfield, back up for Pedri, Alex Garcia, left winger, get the fullback sorted out, and then you can go for a backup goalkeeper. That for me is probably 4th or 5th on our list, and I don't want the club spending too much time and wasting money and efforts on that and then leaving the other priorities vacant. But something that we have to consider for sure. Luis Maximiano, I think he's a good goalkeeper, but the fact that he didn't do too well at Lazio should be some sort of sight, but he can come in as an option. I do love the option potentially of bringing back Hernan from PSG. I believe he signed a 3-year deal there, so you can maybe keep Inaki Pena for 1 more season and then ship off Inaki Pena, bring in Hernan. But again, Inaki Pena contract until 2026. You want to make a decision this summer to get good money for him, and when you go to 2025, you're gonna get peanuts for him probably, maybe 5-10 million at the absolute most. If you really push now, you can maybe get 15-20 for him, but we wait and see. I think it's very positive that the club are having a bit of doubts around Inaki Pena, but we'll wait and see what they do fully decide in that regard. Now, one of the biggest news that's come out of Barcelona recently has been about the fullback shakeup this summer, as we are anticipating a lot of movement in both the right back and left back department. Now, this is coming in from Ryan Martinez and Gabriel Sanz from Mundo Deportivo, and they've come out saying that Sergio Roberto and Marcos Alonso are expected to leave Barcelona at the end of the season, as both their contracts expire and the club will not be renewing it. So that's them sorted out already. And also more news on Roberto quickly. Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Sergio Roberto rejected an offer from Saudi Arabia due to personal reasons. His wife is Israeli, so there wouldn't be a comfort in that country. Makes sense. Sergio Roberto has been thinking about joining the MLS for some time now, and Xavi requested the renewal of Roberto, but the club has not made any advances with the player. The decision on his future will also depend on the new Barcelona manager. So Roberto can kind of, I think, ride it out a little bit, wait for the new manager to come in and make him have that decision. But I'd love to see Roberto go to MLS, go to to Club de Amigos FC at Inter Miami. Well, rack up with the boys. Apparently, Inter Miami want Luka Modric as well. Imagine Modric, Roberto, Suarez, Busquets, Jordi Alba, Messi. That is going to be some fire. But I think Roberto, what he will do personally is wait for the new manager to come in. I think the future won't be, fully confirmed, decided. Hopefully, it will be before the end of the season. That way, he can get the send-off that he does deserve. Again, the man has served 14, 15 years at the club. He's been here for his whole entire life. We should, give him a proper send-off, I think, in my opinion. But we'll wait and see on Roberto. What's more important is that Alonso is finito. Now, onto their replacements. Barcelona are very happy with Hector Fort, and he is expected to be in the first team dynamics, offering an option on both flanks. Julian Araujo and Alex Valle are expected to do preseason with the first team, following which the market evaluation and the new coach will decide on their future. Mario Hermoso of Atletico Madrid is on Barcelona's radar as well, as he is a free agent at the end of the season, and of course Barcelona wants Joao Cancelo to continue and stay at the club permanently. Now, Hermoso, you can get right in the bid. We do not need Hermoso in any capacity whatsoever. This is simply because he's a free agent and the club just want to put his name out there. There is no need to sign Hermoso in any capacity. We have a lot of fullback options. We have a lot, and I mean a lot, of center back options. Araujo, Christensen, Koundé, Inigo Martinez, Kubarsi, McAlfay. You have Eric Garcia coming back from loan. Come on, Longley coming back from loan. That's eight center backs off the top of my head. So we don't need Hermoso even as a fullback option. For me, how I see it is that Julian Araujo, Joao Cancelo, that is right back position on lock for me. Now, there is also the option, by the way, of Serginho Dest. Keep in mind, Serginho Dest in an interview in January saying that, look, if Xavi's the Barcelona manager, I'm never going back to Barcelona, but if he's not, we'll wait and see. And then now our reports were suggesting that Dest has reevaluated himself, of course, at PSV. This is good news for Barcelona. It's not totally ruled out that he could perhaps stay at Barcelona next season. Of course, PSV do have a buy option of 10 million euros. They activate that, he's gone. But if they don't activate that, then we could see Dest come back. I personally think, move on from Dest. Now we're back here. So right back position for me is unlocked. Julian Araujo, Joao Cancelo. We are now debating who will be the backup competition coverage for Alejandro Balde. You have two options. You have either Alex Valle, who is the natural left back, or you have Hector Fort, who is a right back playing at left back. That for me is where the debate comes in. I think one of them will go out on loan, get some experience, or maybe you can even sell them on with the repurchase option, buyback option, percent future sale, whatever the case may be. And the other one will be coverage and competition for Alejandro Balde. I think for me right now, I do see Hector Fort being a little bit favored because he's been training now with the first team for 6 to 8 months. He's played here and there as well. He's had experience. He's done some fantastic performances, and we've seen absolutely nothing of Alex Valle. I think I saw him play 45 minutes against Juventus in the preseason. That was it. So although he is impressing and doing well at Levante, I've seen some clips of him as well. That's for me where the questions come in. You could maybe even say give it to Dest, have Dest and Balde, because Dest has been playing at left back all season at PSV, and then maybe load out both Valle and Hector Fort. I wouldn't maybe be opposed to that too much, especially if the new coach wants to do that. But we'll wait and see. I'm very excited to see Barcelona have proper fullbacks, especially coverage as well next season. We've lacked that a lot over recent years. We've been having Roberto at right back, covering. You've had, Juan Miranda's and Jordi Alba playing 60 games a season. You had Junior Firpo didn't do well, Luca Dean, even Serginho Dest, if you want to count him as well. So it's nice to finally have, proper fullbacks for starting and for coverage. Usually we only have a starter for one, and then the other side we're just praying, hoping for a miracle. So it's nice to see that for sure. So we'll wait and see how things turn out in that regard. But Barcelona are planning on a shakeup in the fullback position and already have a strong plan in place to implement once preseason comes around. Let's discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. Apart from the Roberto news, just one quick update on Frenkie de Jong, where Tony Juan Martí has been providing some of his updates based on his opinion and based on what he knows so far on the situation. He came out saying that expect there will be some tension regarding Frenkie de Jong's renewal due to the club's economic situation. The player is still hurt after several tensions with the club recently, but I think personally that he will end up renewing. I would say there is a 75% chance that he does renew his contract at Barcelona. And the meeting with Frenkie de Jong's agent was positive, and both sides said the relationship right now is much better to when Mateo Alemán was the sporting director of Barcelona. Apparently, Ali Dursun, Mateo Alemán had some tensions, and that's why Alemán put him on the market and kind of, dabbled around with Manchester United in the summer of 2022. So this is obviously positive news. De Jong is one of the best midfielders, if not the best midfielder in the world. This is someone that you have to keep as well. I can see him recently, especially, showing his love for Barcelona and his celebrations and how he puts the passion on the pitch. Also, that press conference was huge. Showing off his kid at the stadium and getting pictures of him in the jersey and things like that. So a lot of positive things have been happening recently, which of course is definitely a good thing. I think losing Frenkie de Jong, talking about, going for a goalkeeper, stuff like that, that's going to be, 10th on the priority list. For all Erling Haaland as well, forget about that as well. We cannot lose a player like Frenkie de Jong. So hopefully everything goes well. And again, hopefully he does renew his contract before the summer. But right now it's looking like that's unlikely. I hope we can get some sort of deal at least by the end of this year, because we cannot go into 2025 with him having a year and a half left on his deal, winding down and giving him the power in negotiation. Right now, Barcelona have a little bit of power left, really understand what he wants as well. Barcelona, of course, very clear. Deco's come out of the media a billion times saying that we want to keep him, which of course is the correct decision, and hopefully an agreement will be reached. Let's now discuss some injury updates around the first team at Barcelona. First, we do have an update on Ferran Torres. Raccoon have come out saying that Ferran Torres is ruled out for this weekend's match against Athletic Club. He will be starting training with the group at some point this week. I believe he had a light training session yesterday, but he will not return just yet. He will return versus Mallorca next weekend, and the goal is to be 100% ready for the match against Napoli. I think if he can get some minutes against Mallorca, then definitely he'll be 100% fit for Napoli. But I honestly don't think we'll see Ferran Torres properly until after the Napoli match, maybe 1 or 2 games before that end of March, beginning of April international break. Again, no need to rush him as long as he's fully back, ready to go post international break, and help us push maybe for second place and maybe a title charge. You never know. Then that's all you can really ask for at that point. Don't want to rush him too much. If he comes back from the Napoli game, he's not going to start. Let's be honest. So might as well let him take his time. But the next injury update is a very positive one. It is probably the first injury update we have gotten, like an actual serious injury update, and that is on Pablo Gavi. Now, Sport have come out saying that Gavi has already finished the first phase of his recovery process and the sensations have been very good. There have been no setbacks or incidents to take into account so far. He will not begin the second phase, which is the most delicate and dangerous phase. His workload will be increased. Pain and inflammation cannot be ruled out here. In this phase, he's scheduled to return to training on grass again, will also begin to be determined. Nobody will take any risk with this recovery. The idea is that he will return to the group 100% when he's at 100% ready. I think the plan really inside for Gavi is to be somewhat fit, training with the ball come preseason time. I think Gavi's actual goal is to be fully fit 100% for preseason. I think that is very, very unlikely. I think the most likely goal is for him to be fully fit, ready to go for the start of La Liga, which I believe is middle of August. So again, no rushing it whatsoever. If he has to come back in October, for all I care, that's fine. You cannot rush a player like Gavi because, again, his game is based on his body, his movement, and you want to make sure he recovers at 100 billion%. But positive that the first phase was a success. Now we're going to move on to the second phase. I think once we hit April and May, we'll get some more injury updates on him, how he's doing on the grass, how he's doing in movements in the gym as well. He's now attending more Barcelona games, being behind the scenes a bit more, attending the training sessions, even though he's not training, just watching and stuff like that. So that's very, very positive. We see some clips of him walking as well, which is good. So wait and see how Gavi recovers goes. But for now, he's in the second phase, and all we can do is wish him the best of success in his recovery. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. We do have a lot of updates I just want to run through very, very quickly. Firstly, on Espai Barça, of course, the plan is going well in terms of the stadium renovation and things like that. And now Barcelona are beginning to plan on some of the details of the stadium. Sport come out saying that one of the proposals for the new Camp Nou is to name the gates after important figures in the club's history. For example, gate number 10 will be named after Leo Messi. Gate number 20 will be named after Sergio Roberto, and so on. So they used Sergio Roberto there as an example, and people on Twitter and Instagram exploded. Oh, Roberto is shy, does not deserve a gate number. Look, although Roberto's time at Barcelona is definitely up and down, you cannot take away from the fact that this man has been at the club for 15 years. Not many players can say that. He's been in and around the team. He's been the freaking captain of the team as well. Scored one of the most significant goals in the club's history. Of course, led to absolutely nothing, but in that moment, caused an earthquake in Barcelona, for crying out loud. I don't honestly classify Roberto as a Barcelona legend. I classify him as a good player that, served the club well. Very similar on the line of, Ivan Rakitic and Neymar, David Villa, those type of players, who came in, had their impact, and left. Legends for me are, your Busquets, your Jordi Albas, your Messis, your Xavis, your Iniestas, your PKs, your Dani Alves, your Komans, your Cruyffs, those ones. I honestly won't even count Ronaldinho as a legend. I think only because, his big smile and how big of an impact he is. I think people will count him as a Barcelona legend, but I think he's on the cuffs of, good player and legend status. But with Roberto, for the amount of time he served the club, I think it makes sense to give him, gate 20. I mean, it's not even that big deal. We're not putting a statue outside of for him, like, bloody hell. Anyways, in regards to the stadium, of course, next season, we do want to return to the Spotify Camp Nou around November time. So before then, Barcelona want to play the majority of their La Liga matches away from home. Relevo have come out saying that Barcelona will ask La Liga to be able to play the maximum number of away games until December to be able to benefit the most from the remodeling works of the Spotify Camp Nou. Such requests have been provided to Real Madrid and Villarreal, who carried out remodeling works in their stadium. So from August until December, the club are going to ask La Liga to let us play as many away games as possible. So of course, that will be the first half of the season where you play all 19 games. We could be seeing 14 games being played away, and then of course the second half of the season all at home. Now this will definitely benefit Barcelona in terms of a title race, get all the big games out of the way, over with, and then a home advantage for the second half of the season. I think La Liga will comply. I think they will probably give us maybe around 10 away games at the start. They don't want to give us too much to give us, that at home advantage, so to speak. But they did, of course, Real Madrid. Remember back in the day when they're playing the Alfredo Di Stefano Stadium, they pushed, I think their first 8 games in La Liga were all away that season. So they better comply with Barcelona as well to, of course, make it an even playing ground. So that's the update on the stadium. We do have now some updates on the kit manufacturer. Now, in regards to Barcelona's Nike relationship and also Puma, we do have some update. Sport have come out saying the negotiations with Puma have now slowed down. The German company suspects that Barcelona used them to negotiate better terms with Nike, and that Barcelona say that they cannot terminate their contract with Nike, and if Puma wants to sponsor the shirt, they must play the breakup clause amount for Nike. So Barcelona's telling Puma, look, we like your deal, we would accept it, but you have to pay that 200 million euro termination clause with Nike for us to, join you, because we're not going to be paying that out of our own pocket, nor can we afford it. So if you want us that badly, give Nike 200 million to break our contract, and we will sign with you happily. But of course, Puma, they're not dumb. They of course said no to that. Now, Gigantes came out saying that a delegate from Nike landed in Barcelona 2 mornings ago and had dinner with Joan Laporta, Rafael Uste as well. Although Puma is pushing to appear on the 25-26 kit, Nike reappears in negotiation. There was, of course, video and picture proof of this as well, that Barcelona were meeting with representatives from Nike. So you could assume that everything's all well. Again, for the 24-25 season, 100% we're going to be with Nike. It's just now down to the 25-26 season. What's going to happen? I think Barcelona really want to stay with Nike, keep it simplistic. Of course, they don't want to move around, but they just want a fair evaluation for the price of the club. But of course, there is the option of doing your own kit manufacturer, and Gerard Mero came out saying that Hummel, a Danish club from Germany, is Barcelona's plan B to the kit sponsor if Nike's negotiations fall through and they don't reach an agreement with Puma for the 25-26 season. Now, Hummel is a company that provides kits, and it's going to be all based on Barcelona's decision and point of view. So all the designs will be approved by Barcelona and things of that nature, all created by Barcelona as well. This is very much more so of a hassle and a difficult operation. Better just to give it to Nike, who will supply everything on time with deadlines, no worries whatsoever. The thing is, how can we go to Hummel if we're going to be under contract with Nike until 2027? And by that point, if you're going to break the contract with Nike, since the contract is going to be expiring, might as well just go to Puma. I don't know if Puma's deal is only valid for the start of the 25-26 season. I'm not quite too sure, but let's be honest, I think in the end, once we get June, July, we're probably going to end up staying with Nike. I think in the end, we'll probably get a little bit more money that they're willing to give us, and then we're going to be sacrificing a little bit as well. Hopefully, there's going to be some deal in that regards. But Barcelona did complete a deal yesterday, and that is the renewal of their deal with Cupra, who is the official sponsor, a car sponsor for Barcelona. There was an event, and of course the club did confirm that they have received around 7 million euros per season from Cupra, and that will of course last from now until 2029. So renewal of a deal. Of course, we've been with Cupra for quite some time now, I believe since 2019. If I'm not mistaken, so the deal has now been renewed. Barcelona were very happy with them. Cupra very happy with us, of course. A lot of the players drive Cupra cars as well. I don't know if they have to or not, but I know Ter Stegen really likes the car. He's, even if they were sponsored, he's probably still would drive it, he said. So there's your inside take. But 7 million per season from the car deal from now until 2029. Now, the most interesting news, in my opinion, over the past few days has been this report from Ferran Martinez from Mundo Deportivo, and that's the plan that Barcelona plan to implement with some of the youngsters in the team that they've called the Fermin formula. Ferran Martinez came out saying that Barcelona want to use the Fermin Lopez formula for more players. More youngsters will leave the club on loan so that they can continue to grow away from Barcelona and demonstrate that they have the place in the first team. With the arrival of Deco and his trusted people, the intention is to change the traditional planning of La Masia players and adapt to what other clubs from other top clubs from Europe are doing. Barcelona has a generation of exceptional talent and expects special cases like Pau Victor or Lamine Yamal. The maturation of many players often stagnates by staying at Barcelona. In addition, Barcelona believe that it would be better for players mentally too, as well as they will learn different styles and come across many relations. Barcelona's idea is to maintain control over the players till at least they're 22. If they can show that they can play for the first team, they will have their chances, like Fermin Lopez did. On the other hand, if they don't have that level of Barcelona, they will be sold for a fee more than what they would have if they stayed at Barcelona. I have been crying out for this 4 years now, because we always have these players that come to Barcelona, they come through, make one little debut, oh they're so good, they stay at Barca Athletic for 1 and 2 years, and then they get binned off for free once their contract expires. I think we should definitely be doing this more. One of them could be even Marc Andre, send him out on loan next season, let him go get some minutes. You're gonna have Lewandowski, Victor Roque, he's gonna get little to no minutes. Marc Andre would be a great example for me. Maybe Alex Gaido, Marc Casado as well. Mikel Fay, I think it would be a great decision from Barcelona to loan him out this summer, if of course we don't have any center back shakeups, so to speak. I'd rather loan him this summer to a team, top flight, let him get some minutes, then sell him for a quick profit and move on, because he has that kind of ceiling. I want to see the club do this much more instead of just cashing out quickly or holding them on to Barcelona Athletic for so long. We've seen this with a lot of players in the past as well. Good example is Ricky Puig. If we loaned out Ricky Puig after the COVID season, he would have had, I think, an unbelievable career, but we kept him on, and Koeman didn't really play him that much. It was always just the Barcelona fans begging for him to play. That's why Koeman put him here and there, but that's, so to speak, a good example. So hopefully the club do implement this more, especially under the regime of Deco. I think this will be an absolute success, but again, let's see if they can implement it first. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is in regards to Barcelona's search for a new manager, but we do have a few updates on that. We also have some big news in regards to Joan Laporta begging Xavi to stay for one more season. This is coming in from Ivan San Antonio from Sport. He came out saying that Joan Laporta informally asked Xavi to stay for an additional season to fulfill his contract length. If Xavi decides to change his mind and conditions, the door will be open to do so for the following reasons. 1, Barcelona are satisfied with Xavi's work. 2, the dressing room is loyal to him. The players are with Xavi until the end. 3, Xavi knows the club well and is aware of the difficulties that Barcelona is going through on the economic level. And finally, the difficulties of finding a new coach. Laporta has asked Xavi to continue for one more season, but the coach will not change his mind. His decision is made. Not if we win La Liga or the Champions League would it change his mind and his stance on continuing. So Laporta asked Xavi, please stay for one more season. Again, the manager options aren't the best, so I kind of understand why Laporta has done this. And Xavi said, nada. Which, I understand. This is why I don't think, Luis Enrique will come back. We'll talk about Luis Enrique in just a few seconds, but things of that nature, you really see. Also, this was confirmed by TV3 as well. They came out saying that Laporta does not completely rule out the possibility of Xavi staying at the club, especially if the team has a reaction and goes on a good streak for matches until for the end of the season, but the president still wants to convince Xavi to stay. So Laporta would much rather have Xavi stay for one more season than him leaving this summer than going out and getting a new manager. But it's now down to convincing Xavi. I think it would look really stupid from the perspective of Xavi for him to stay. I think if you win a Champions League or La Liga, then you say you're staying. That makes sense a little bit, but even if we win those, it'll be looking so strange. We'll have all this manager news for months and months and months and all this stuff. It just doesn't make sense. I think if the manager doesn't want to stay, why put a gun to his head and force him to stay? You know what I mean? That's just my perspective. So we'll see how that turns out. But we have, of course, been linked with a lot of managers recently. We do have some new names on the table as well. One of the names that's come out recently is Simone Inzaghi, with Mundo Deportivo reporting that Barcelona are considering Simone Inzaghi as an option to replace Xavi. I think Inzaghi is a great manager, but he ain't a Barcelona manager. This man is very much a defensive aspect. He kind of reminds me a lot of Antonio Conte, 3-5-2, of course. I think his style very much fits Serie A. I think he's more so good in comparison to Diego Simeone. I think him and Atletico Madrid would be unbelievable. If I'm Atletico Madrid and Simeone says to me, I'm leaving tomorrow, my first option would be Simone Inzaghi. That's, I think, how fit and perfect they are for each other. I think for Barcelona, not quite the best mold in my opinion. But let's now discuss those actual targets. One of them is, of course, Thomas Tuchel. Christian Folk has come out saying that Thomas Tuchel is open to the idea of becoming the new coach of Barcelona. He is competing, of course, with his German compatriot Hansi Flick for that position, but Tuchel is also said to be interested in managing Manchester United as well. So, of course, Tuchel open to joining Barcelona. The sky is blue and the grass is green. We do also have an update on the Zerbi. This is coming in from Platigol from Sky Germany from the Bayern Munich perspective, and they've come out saying that the Zerbi would leave Brighton this summer due to his release clause. He's highly regarded at Barcelona alongside Hansi Flick, and he is one of the options to take over at Bayern Munich. Apparently, Bayern Munich want Xabi Alonso. He's their first option, their first priority. If they can get Xabi Alonso, their next bet is the Zerbi. So there we go. We got some competitions for a manager as well. But the biggest news around the manager department has been, of course, the news on Luis Enrique. Now, this is coming in from Joao Felix, who again is very reliable. He came out saying that Barcelona have 3 avenues open right now for a new coach. Number 1, Hansi Flick. Number 2, De Zerbi. And number 3, Luis Enrique. The club will wait for him, keeping an eye on the situation at PSG. Within Barcelona, there are people who want to wait a little more to make a decision on the next manager in case there is a big coach movement in Europe. They want Luis Enrique to be there amongst their options to select. Hansi Flick is very obsessed with the idea of coaching Barcelona. Flick is the one who asked Fini Zahavi to travel to Barcelona to put pressure on the club. Sources say that Hansi Flick is very well positioned to become the new Barcelona manager, but his signing is not closed as it seems. So Flick is definitely leading the race here beyond belief, but Barcelona are really keen on Luis Enrique. Now, 2 things. 1, I don't think PSG is going to sack him. 2, I don't think Luis Enrique is going to leave PSG. And let's just chuck in a third as well. Will Luis Enrique take the job? I honestly don't think he will. I think if Pep Guardiola was bored out of his mind on a sabbatical for 3 years and he got offered the Barcelona job, I don't think he would take it. These are historic managers for the club. They don't want to come back and ruin their status, ruin their reputation. You know, a good example of this would be Louis van Gaal. He came to Barcelona, won the league title, came back, was absolutely shite, and is not regarded as one of the great managers for Barcelona, even though he won us a league title. If Luis Enrique comes back, does shite, everyone's gonna be like, oh, he's so overrated, blah blah blah. His time at Barcelona, even though he just won a treble and in his first season, that's it. Taken away from his league double in the 15-16 season, taken away from that Copa del Rey run, 16-17 season, the league title charge as well, where we barely just lost the league. All that stuff is going to be coming into consideration. So I don't even know. I personally don't think, of course, Luis Enrique, out of these 3 options for me, top of my list, I would get on my knees for him, but I don't think he would take the job personally, just on how I analyze the situation. But definitely right now, I think the leading candidate is in fact Hansi Flick, but there are some reports contradicting that coming out now. Firstly, Catalan Radio came out saying that Hansi Flick is the big favorite to be Barcelona's next manager. Joan Laporta prefers Roberto De Zerbi, but there is a financial difficulty in signing him. So apparently now we're hearing a lot of reports that, oh, De Zerbi is our best option because Pep Guardiola likes him and recommended him, but we can't afford his money to, activate his release clause. That's why we want Hansi Flick. So I think if there is no release clause for De Zerbi, he would be Barcelona's number 1 option, and this now has been confirmed by Luis Rojo from Marca. He came out saying that the Flick option is now fading away a little bit. The club is looking for a new coach with experience in more than 1 league, a condition that Flick does not meet. Again, he only coached in the Bundesliga and the German national team. Candidates like Thomas Tuchel and De Zerbi fulfill this requirement more. So apparently now Barcelona want to consider not only managing well, but also having that experience as well. Where Tuchel experience in Germany, France, England. Hansi Flick only in Germany. De Zerbi, I think a spell in Italy, and of course in England as well. And now Flick's name is falling through. I don't know, man. I'm telling you right now for free, it will be a German coach. I think we're gonna be putting either Tuchel or Flick, in my opinion. I think Flick is in a bit better of a position because he's just coming off the back of a sabbatical. He'll be fresh, ready to go. You can appoint him tomorrow. He can give you his transfer plans, all this stuff like that. Where Tuchel is gonna be with Bayern Munich till May, probably gonna want a few weeks off and then get the Barcelona job. I think if everyone is happy, they would go for De Zerbi, but of course we don't have the money, or maybe we do have the money to pay him, or he can pay it himself. I'm not quite too sure, but I think the top 3 is definitely Tuchel, Flick, De Zerbi. I think you could say Flick and Tuchel are the top 2 most likely, and Luis Enrique could definitely become an option if he becomes available. So we'll wait and see how things turn out, but right now nothing really clear at the moment. I don't think the club will decide for quite some time now, but you do have a sense of who the top 4 contenders are for the job for sure. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is to go to Deco's interview with Catalan Radio very quickly to talk about quite a bit. I kind of narrowed it down to the top quotes. Again, he's been doing a lot of interviews recently. He needs to give me a bloody break. Even Lewandowski did an interview with Barcelona the other day. Like, Goddamn. Anyways, spoken to Catalan radio, Deco came out saying that against Napoli we wanted to win, but this is the Champions League. Even if you had a bad in the league, it's different in the Champions League. Against Getafe, we recovered well and played well. The possibility that Xavi will change his decision and stay as a coach, it is not something that we are considering. I won't say we can't raise it. We have nothing against Xavi. It's not a decision made by the club or the sporting management. On the next coach, he has to respect Barcelona's idea of football, the idea to play quality football and to play and do things well. We like Pep's Man City because they play good football. We like Emmanuel Alguacil's Real Sociedad because we see them as a competitive team that plays well. If you only win and don't play well, you won't make people fall in love with you. Barcelona should follow the model that you have to fall in love with them. So the fact that he name dropped Emmanuel Alguacil's Real Sociedad is a big thing in my opinion. Rafa Marquez is still a developing coach, and the club needs qualified people in the lower categories. So again, Rafa Marquez not being considered for the first team, but I do really want to keep him, of course, for Barca Athletic. The relationship with Xavi is very good in every sense. I have a lot of respect for Xavi as a player, and then I respect Xavi as a player after being with him as well. He made the difference in sports career and was the best midfielder in the world for many years. I respect him for his coaching and his entering in a dangerous project at the beginning and taking the risk that he took. And in the end, he did things very well. On the transfer market, he said that Frenkie de Jong, Pedri, Gavi, Araujo, they are the present and future of Barcelona. They should be here for many more years. The idea is not to sell anyone this summer. And then finally, on the menu, Pau is starting important matches. In football, it is the quality and the talent that take the most precedence. So of course, the big thing is, on the coach. If Xavi wants to stay, he can stay. Again, him leaving is not down to the sporting management or the club. Second big one, dropping Emmanuel Alguacil's Real Sociedad team as, a team that plays good football. Thirdly, of course, saying that he does not want to sell any big player this summer as well. So basically, a little bit of a repetition of what he's been saying a lot in the media recently. I think the insight on Xavi is also very important, and of course, mainly not selling the big players. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past few days. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course, leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. The main thing I want firstly, of course, is your thoughts on Erling Haaland coming to Barcelona. I think it's a reality or not. Secondly, your thoughts on Joao Felix. What would you do in the situation? Would you go for him, pay the money to Atletico Madrid, get another loan, or just send him back and don't even worry about him? Thirdly, your thoughts on those potential sales to Saudi Arabia. What would you consider for the prices of these three players? Would you let any of them go as well? And finally, your thoughts on the manager hunt. Your thoughts on Luis Enrique being an option, and who would you pick out of Hansi, Flick, Zerbi, and Thomas Tuchel, the three main candidates at the moment. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.